Hello students, welcome back. The next phylum for our discussion is the phylum Aschelminthes, which include all the roundworms, and in this part we'll be discussing about all the general characters and the reproduction and the various examples that are included in this phylum. So let's start. So now we come to our next subtopic of discussion, that is the phylum Aschelminthes. The phylum Aschelminthes are also known as the roundworms. The animals in this phylum are cylindrical in shape and they taper at both ends of their body without segmentation. These worms do not show any cephalization, means the anterior end, at the anterior end of the body there is absence of any head. The body wall in these animals consists of 3 layers. The first one is the cuticle, which is a firm non-living layer, and it protects the worms from the digestive enzymes of the host. The next layer is the epidermis. The epidermis is without cilia, but it is syncytial, means multinucleated. And the last layer is, or the internal layer is the muscle layer, which is divided into 4 quadrants. So this figure shows the body plan of Ascaris. In this figure, here you can see that a ventral nerve is present and a ventral epidermal cord, and just opposite of this a dorsal nerve is present. You can also see a uterus containing numerous eggs in it, and beside the uterus an oviduct is present. About the body wall, the cuticle is the outer body wall, then there is the multinucleated epidermal, and then there is the muscle layer, which consists of these large muscle cells. There is an ovary. A distinct excretory canal is also present, is also shown in this figure. So these are the important body parts in a female Ascaris. The example is of the female Ascaris. This is the general body plan of a roundworm. The body cavity that separates the body wall from the digestive tract is not fluid filled. Means it is not lined by any mesothelium. Mesothelium, which is the pseudocele, contains pseudocelomic fluid. Pseudocele is developed from the blastocele basically. So the hydroskeleton that maintains the form of the worm body is absent. The digestive tract is complete and it is differentiated into 4 distinct parts, that is the mouth, pharynx, intestine and anus. The mouth is surrounded by 3 lips. They have sensory papillae and amphids. Sensory papillae serves as tangoreceptors or touch receptors, and amphids serve as the chemoreceptor. The pharynx is muscular because it helps in sucking the food from the host, but the intestine is non-muscular. The respiration in these animals is done through the general body surface by the process of diffusion. The circulatory system is undeveloped. The nervous system comprises of a circumpharyngeal ring. Circumpharyngeal ring is a ring of nerves and ganglia that forms a circular structure around the pharynx region of these worms. Sense organs like papillae and amphids are present around the lips. The papillae, which are known as the tangoreceptor, which serve as the tangoreceptor, and amphids serve as the chemoreceptor. The excretory system in these animals is H-shaped and it consists of gland cells, which are also known as the intracellular canal or protonephridia, but in these worms the protonephridia consist of rennet cell. The reproductive system is developed and sexes are separate in these worms, means male and female. The male and the female organisms are different. That means sexual dimorphism is present in these animals. The male is smaller than female, but it is curved at its caudal end, but female, it is straight. The male, for copulation, they use pineal spicules, and the genital tract joins to the digestive tract to form a cloaca. So the females are larger than the males, but they are straight. Fertilization is internal, taking place inside the body of the organism, and development is mostly direct. That means it does not involve any larval stage. The cleavage in these organisms is holoblastic, spiral, and determinate at the same time. In the holoblastic cleavage, two divisions takes place, once along the animal pole and the vegetal pole, and the second is perpendicular to the first one. So this division is known as the holoblastic cleavage, holoblastic one. So after this division, what happens is there is the development of four blastomeres, which are also known as the macromeres. So after these two divisions, which results in the formation of the four macromeres, in the third division, what happens is these blastomeres develop into four more cells, which are known as the micromeres. Micromeres can be shown like this. So in spiral cleavage, what happens is after the third division, these micromeres, after the micromeres are formed, they rotate clockwise a bit, so that they do not lie directly at the top of these macromeres, but they lie in the furrow of these macromeres. So this is known as the spiral cleavage. This characteristic clockwise movement of the micromeres gives this name, spiral cleavage. And in the determinate type, what happens is that the blastomere, each blastomere is destined to form a particular organ or a part of an embryo. Among the examples of the Aschelminthes, the most remarkable example is of the Ascaris, which is an intestinal roundworm, and it causes ascariasis. This disease is very common in the children. The embryonic development takes place in the soil. The most infective stage of Ascaris is the second stage, that is the rhabditiform larva. The rhabditiform larva is the infective stage. So the transmission of the rhabditiform larva is done by ingesting the embryonated eggs through the contaminated food and water. Though the most pathogenic larva is the fourth stage, which is inhabited in the human lungs. So this figure shows the male and the female worms of Ascaris. The female is larger than the male, and male is curved at its caudal end, whereas the female is straight. Here you can see the ovary in the female and testes in the males, and there is a distinct sperm duct present in the male Ascaris worm. And the common organs are the pharynx, the nerve ring is also shown here, excretory system, which is the protonephridia, and the intestine are also shown here. Other examples of Aschelminthes are like Enterobilus. It is a pinworm or a seat worm present in the large intestine, and there is no intermediate host that causes enterobiasis. The next example is of the Encyclostoma. Encyclostoma is also known as the hookworm, which is present in our small intestine. It is monogenetic. Monogenetic means that these worms live as ectoparasite in a single host throughout their entire life cycle. So they need only a single host for their life cycle. The infective stage of Encyclostoma is a filariform larva which is non-feeding. The next example is of the Wuchereria, which is a filarial worm. It causes filariasis or elephantiasis. This causes, in this disease, there is swelling of the lymph vessels or lymph glands, and this disease is transmitted by a female Culex mosquito. These worms are viviparous, that means they lay eggs, and it is a digenetic worm, means they live as ectoparasite on two hosts throughout their life cycle. The next example is of the Loa Loa worm, means eyeworm, or more particularly or specifically African eyeworm. Its intermediate host is Chrysops, and it causes lymphatic conjunctivitis. Ranunculus is the guinea worm or Medina worm, or it is also known as fiery serpent. It is digenetic, and Cyclops is its intermediate host. Ranunculus is the oldest discovered nematode. So students, in this part we discussed about the characters of the phylum Aschelminthes, like about their body structure and about their circulatory system, excretory system and respiratory system, and also how these animals actually reproduce. We also discussed about the examples that are very important with respect to this phylum. And in the next part, we'll be moving on towards our next phylum, that is the phylum Annelida, and these are the animals having a well segmented body. So stay tuned for that.